All right. Cool, cool. Let's get this show on the road. And don't worry, you're not gonna hear any beeping sound in the background. Finally took care of that damn thing. Um, okay, so Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And as you can see in the title, here comes the U.B.I. Now, this is an article that I just read through it. I was scrolling through, and then when I saw this, I sort of leaned in a bit to see if this was actually what I thought it was. And as we're gonna read, it's basically a version of this UBI, like a test run, which they're calling the guaranteed basic income, so the GBI, here in the U.S. And it's not a long article, so this would be a fairly straight to the point lesson. But the highlight, or the thing that I'm highlighting here, is that not necessarily what guaranteed basic income is, but what role does having this guaranteed basic income play in the universal basic income. And you'll see how they're using this to push one step closer, because the UBI also plays a role in the NWO, right? It also ties in to this new digital age, this new system, where they're going to be having people use programmable money. In fact, the I forgot what central bank it was, but they basically sent out warnings to, I think it was Zimbabwe. Uh, was it Zimbabwe? I think it was Zimbabwe, that were trying to have a gold-backed digital currency. Let me see. Was it the IMF sends warning to Zimbabwe for or against gold-backed digital currency? Yeah, yeah. So it says here, I saw this briefly yesterday. It says the International Monetary Fund cautioned Zimbabwe against adopting a gold-backed digital currency to deal with macroeconomic challenges like volatility in the local unit, saying it would rather liberalize its foreign exchange market. But why? What's the caution here? Because it's easier and more controllable when you have programmable money. When you have money that's really just worth as much as you think it's worth, like the dollar, right? That's not really backed by anything, but can be stretched as far as needed, and so on and so forth. Okay, but you can't do that when a currency is backed by actual money, silver, gold. These kinds of things that are measurable. What is a dollar? A measurement of what? Well, we don't know. See? So anyway, back to this article. It says U.S. city to roll out guaranteed basic income. The rise up Cambridge, cash payments for families with kids will provide low-income households with a monthly check of $500 to test guaranteed basic income. See, and this is another test they had for this was during the pandemic, okay, which a lot of things were tested during the pandemic. Things like, how would society look when a large portion of people are not leaving their homes, are staying in their homes? What would jobs look like? That's where you had the whole introduction which is not, it wasn't a new thing, but the shift towards it on that scale was new, which was the remote working, right? Prior to the pandemic, there were remote workers, like that was a thing, but it wasn't thought of and utilized the way that it became used during the pandemic. So they were able to really gather a lot of information, right? What would a sample society that looks like this, what would that look like? How long would it take before they have people start getting tired of this and people start saying, nah, I'm done with this, and they start rebelling? Or how long will it take for people to start coming out and putting out videos against it? And all of these things they were tracking. And then they also threw in there the UBI, or the stimulus checks, as they called it, right? How does this affect things? What effect does this have on people's willingness to now go back to work? Given the option, right? They could post a statistical question like, given, you give somebody $1,200 a month or whatever for 6 months, and then maybe they lost it, they had a good job and they lost it. Given the opportunity to return back to work or continue to receive these checks, how many people would really, go with what option? Because you had some people who their actual paycheck was next to, or maybe less, or just a little bit more than what they were receiving via stimulus, right? Via the stimulus checks. So, and the kind of labor they had to do, like they had to bust their ass. So imagine for somebody like that, telling them, well, we'll just send you money weekly or bi-weekly. You don't have to worry about it. What do you think? What, you know what I'm saying? Well, how do you think they're going to react to that? So they were able to see all of these things, but now they have this other test. They're calling it the guaranteed basic income for low income households. These those eligible are families with children who earn under 250% of the federal poverty level, which is 75,000 for a family of four. And ultimately, if they can have a world where, like I said, it's programmable money, so things like credits, maybe like a credit system, and you get a set amount of credits based on some criteria, your ranking or your whatever, your credit score, whatever it is, and you get this set amount every month or every whatever interval they put, and with that you're able to make purchases and do whatever in the digital world. So your transactions are based on your credits. If you have enough credits, then there's no concept of saving money. There is no money. It's just credits. It's the ability to, to have access to certain things based on, I guess, make believe. And then likewise the ability to just withdraw credits or shut off your wallet or whatever it is. This grants them a high level of power, okay, over your life, because everything you do, everything you interact with is going to be digital. And once it's digital, they're able to control it and manipulate it. And they can block you out, or they can let you in, or they can put you somewhere in the middle. So this all leads towards that point of control, right? Shalom, Zakwani, Yahweh Shem Yahushai Barakatah, wa Yahweh Shem Yahushai Barakatam, to all you sincere listeners. So let's read a little bit more about this, right? It says the 18-month program will not be based on a lottery like other guaranteed basic income rollouts, and anyone eligible may apply. The city has allotted 22 million for the initiative and expects around 2,000 families to apply. And once again, this is how they move. They have an end goal, but they calculate the steps that it'll take for them to reach that. That's why they come out in they'll have like Agenda 23 and then Agenda 2030. And so they break it up to say, okay, by X period of time, we need to have been at this step. If we take one step every day, where will we be at the end of 10 days? And then they divide it like that. So they know that, okay, in the next year, we need to accomplish X, Y, and Z. And then the next year, we need to accomplish X, Y, and Z. So it's all gradual. So they might not just come out and slap the term on there, okay, this is the UBI, everybody, but they will implement a system like that through a gradual process where they prime the minds of the people to be familiar with it. So it's not strange, right? It's like going from hot water to cold water and skipping the lukewarm. your body might go into shock. So you gotta slowly adjust, all right, as you go. Anyway, it says the money to fund the program will primarily come from the American Rescue Plan, distributing our federal tax dollars to others, and some independent donors will pitch in too. Let's jump down a bit and hit the main points here. So it says here, we want to stabilize as many households as possible and make sure that they have a chance to continue to stay in our city that is not easy to stay in. And all of these things are leading towards a completely different era. Put it like that, man. I mean, the shit is not normal in today's day and age. Okay, absolutely not normal. I mean, I just saw a post by the elder Yashawamba as I was about to start this video, and it says first ever baby made from 3 people's DNA has been born in the UK. And I remember reading something, I forgot where it was, but it was dealing with what they call designer babies, where through um, gene editing and genetic manipulation, a parent would be able to customize their baby before the baby is born, almost like you're playing a video game and you have the ability to what's that, character creation or character customization. You design, you customize what you want your character to look like, and then they get created in the game. Well, it's basically like that, but in real life. So they would have the ability to choose what color hair, what kind of genes. So maybe they want their if it's a son, they want him to be fast, they want him to be tall. That's why they call it designer babies, and they can do this. And eventually, the whole natural birth, a man lays with a woman, she has to carry the baby for 9 months and then go through labor. Eventually they can just transition away from that, and they just have pods, just giant pods that have babies in them. They grow. They're not gonna do it the natural way. They're gonna artificially grow babies. Like, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that it's not like this is an idea that's just tossed out here. I mean, this is reality now. Okay, these are all actual feasible plans that they have shown people, that they have done research on. So this is where the world is today. Anyway, it says a $500 payment in a high-cost city will never financially stabilize families. Instead, it will increase inflation and bypass the middle class. Remember what the WEF says, right? You will own nothing and be happy. And they always get you through first deception. What sometimes the worst things in the world always seem like the most pleasant and nicest and enticing things at the beginning. Look at Eve and the serpent as she was beguiled. So the devil will not present to you poison as poison. He's going to coat that poison in ice cream. If somebody wanted to poison you, do you think they're going to put the poison in freaking Brussels sprouts and broccoli and then come toss that toss that in front of you, say, hey, you want to try this? No. They're gonna they might bake some fresh oven baked cookies where you're just smelling it and it's irresistible, or some whatever it is to entice you, because the real danger is inside of that. They're not gonna make something that you wouldn't even touch, even if it didn't have poison in it. They're not gonna do that. So it's the same thing here. When they present their ideas, at the core of it, the poison of it is that you're going to lose your freedoms. You're going to be a total slave to them, right? That's the ultimate poison of it. But when they code it, or the Trojan horse that they presented in, it's obviously not going to be, hey, this is poison, or hey, we're basically trying to take away all your rights. Even though they make that very obvious, they still make it tempting, right? It's almost like somebody once again presents you with that freshly baked cookies, and it's sus. It's sus. They made sure that you knew that it was suspicious, but it was still irresistible, right? The temptation is still there. And that's one thing that these devils are able to use. Look, one thing I've said is that, I mean, I don't believe that when the MOTB comes out, majority of people are going to take it because they don't know that it's the MOTB. I think that by that time, a lot of people, if not everyone, will know or have at least heard something related to that to say, hey, this T-hip is the MOTB. But the driving factor for why they're still going to take it is not because they don't know, but it's because of the condition that they're going to be put in. They're going to be desperate, or they're going to be tempted, as the scriptures say. And that's why we say that knowing is half the battle. Knowing doesn't mean that you're good. Oh, I know this, so that's it. I'm good. No, that doesn't stop there. Why? What was the point in you knowing it? Did the Lord reveal it to you and open up your mind so you could just know it just to know it? No. He put it in our minds to know it so that we can believe it, and then the actions that we take are influenced by it. But if you just know it and it's like knowing to do the right thing and you still do the wrong thing, then what good did knowing do for you? Really, it might have done something worse for you, because now when you get judged, you have no excuse. Okay, so once again, these devils have that in their mind that, you know what, we're at the point where they can literally know exactly what we're trying to do, and we can still get them to do it. Anyway, it says here, unlike traditional welfare programs, those eligible will receive direct deposit payments that they may spend as they see fit. And the author makes a very good point in this last paragraph here, which is the American Rescue Plan was not marketed as a guaranteed basic income initiative. Siddiqui is buying votes with federal funds. The city is pricing out the middle class by providing handouts to those who cannot afford to live in an expensive city. Now, here's the part: free money becomes like a drug, and the people become hooked on receiving that monthly direct deposit. But as with all drugs, they will become dependent and will need more and more as the cost of living increases. This will only incentivize people to not work and vote for politicians who promise handouts at the expense of responsible taxpayers. So, what is this basically saying? Doing something like this it comes in the form of a drug, because when you are living your life, you're working, you're paying bills, nothing else. I mean, that's what you do. You may hate it, you may not like it, but it's doable, and you're able to do it, and you're good. The second they introduce something else into your life that makes it easier, and they say, we'll just give you money, you don't have to go and bust your ass to do this anymore, that is when it becomes like a drug. Because as you indulge in this, right, just like any drug that you do, so they have things called gateway drugs, which are like drugs that lead you into, into the scheme of things. So when you do that, you get that first dopamine rush. They call it that first high. And then people spend the rest of their drug-filled life chasing that first high. Well, think of it like this. When you get that money that just keeps on coming in, I mean, who doesn't want free money? It makes your life easier, right? You can get the things that you want to get without putting in the work that you got to put in. So they become dependent on it. And at that point, you now have more control over them. Let's take a very hypothetical example. Let's say they implemented like if you had two ways to entice people, right? If you were maybe if you were the mind or the controller of these elites, and you guys were trying to figure out a way to get people to receive this charagma, this micro C-hip, and you had two ways that you were thinking about, right? Which one do you think would be more likely to work? Number one, introduce the C-hip and then tell people, if you take this, we're gonna give you free money, right? We're gonna give you this monthly direct deposit of whatever amount, maybe I don't know, $3,000 a month, but it's only for those that take the C-hip. So you introduce the C-hip, right? This micro C-hip, and you say, hey, anybody that opts to take it, you get this direct deposit. So it's an incentive. That is option A. Option B is you first introduce the monthly deposit and say, look, anybody that applies, you'll get it. And then you get the people hooked on receiving this monthly direct deposit. So what happens, right? Somebody that wakes up, they go to work, they work their ass off, they come home, they pay bills, and they do X, Y, and Z. As they keep getting this money, this free money, eventually they may get to a point where they may be able to quit their job because they've transitioned all the responsibilities that depended on their job to now depend on this money that comes in from the government, this UBI, let's call it that. So now their life, the way that they would fear getting fired, they would now feel that way about not getting this UBI because now everything is dependent on this check coming in at the end of every month. So just like a drug, you've now got them hooked, like addicts. And now they've structured their new life around this money that they expect to come in every month. So once again, thinking as if you're one of the elites and you say, okay, why don't I hook them up to this drug, this monthly income? And then I say, hey, instead of option A, which is take the micro C hip and then we'll give you this monthly income, maybe we can go with option B where we hook you up to this monthly income. You become so hooked, you depend on it. Then we say, hey, if you want to keep receiving this monthly income, take the C hip because that's the only way we're going to be sending money. This monthly direct deposit is going to be coming through, I don't know, maybe the Fed Now payment system, but only to those C hip wallets. At that point, you sit back and you think, if I have these two options on the table, which one is more likely to get people to take the C hip? I would think that option B would be more likely because as where option A sounds more like a optional incentive, people don't really have too much to lose. They can say, well, I mean, I'm kind of good right now with, I don't, my work life is not the best, but I mean, I don't need to go and take a micro C hip. I can still, get by. As opposed to somebody who you have now made them dependent on you. And now you say, hey, in order to keep on being able to live and yada yada, you got to take the C hip. Now they have more to lose because now they're counting on you for this their daily bread, if you want to put it that way. So I mean, this is just a scenario I just put together, um, you know, to emphasize the point of these devils introduce new concepts like this, or really old concepts that are resurfaced and solidified. They introduce it little by little to prime the minds of the people. And once they have all of this in place, when they've switched up the infrastructure and they've gotten people accustomed to these things, then they can say, well, this is your only way. And in order to keep going down this way, you now need to do X, Y, and Z. That's it. Like if I wanted to charge you tolls, if I wanted to charge you a price to go through a certain road, I'm not going to introduce that toll while there's like three other roads that you can go and take. What's the first thing I would do? I would say, okay, in order for person A or Philip, in order for Philip to get from point A to point B, how many roads? Philip always drives. That's his only means of transportation. How many roads does Philip have to get from point A to point B? Okay, Philip has three different ways that he can get to point B. I want to charge Philip toll. I'm not going to place a toll on the first route and say, hey, come down this route and pay me some toll. Because he might just say, I'll just go down the other two routes. Maybe what I'll do is I'll close down the other two routes, leave Philip with no option but to have to go through this one route, and then I'm going to place the toll. So Philip has no option but to pay the toll if he wants to get from point A to point B, right? That's how you squeeze people. Going back to the point that these elites, if once they implement a method like this, which they likely already have, that's why they talk so proudly. They don't need to hide the fact of what they're doing because they know that they have enough leverage on the average individual. They've put you in, I mean, such a bad position that they can literally come and tell you to your face, hey, this is what we're gonna do to you, and you would still come to them for whatever it is because that's the position they've put you in. They put you in that snare. Anyway, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 21. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And a perfect example of this is, once again, going back to this guaranteed basic income. You got to ask yourself, when they come up with these oh so helpful ideas, what were they thinking about that led them to come out with a solution like this? Do you honestly think that people who would go and drop nuclear or atomic bombs that would destroy and devastate, places even until today, or go and start wars in countries that just because that country has resources that these people want. I mean, go and perform experiments, and use live people as test subjects for your Vanessas. You think people like that were sitting there twiddling their thumbs together, thinking about how they can make your life easier and better, and that's how they randomly decided, hey, let's give people free money? Really? You think that's how the devil works? So you got to ask yourself, this guy is known for doing evil, and he all of a sudden comes out and says, "Hey, I have a plan. Let me help you out and give you money every month." No, there has to be some. This has to play a role in some bigger plan, and in fact, it does. This guaranteed basic income is a version of the universal basic income. I mean, it damn near has the same name. Okay, but this all plays a role into that you will own nothing and be happy. That socialist agenda, and it's not coming. It's here. It's here. All right. So that's going back to Psalms 55. They never present it to you as in the realness of what it is. They don't come to you and say, "Hey, we're really trying to do this to you." No. When the whole Pan D situation, what were they saying? It's safe and effective. Almost like it was like a damn spell that they were casting over people, where they would just keep repeating this chant, oh, it's safe and effective, safe and effective. Oh, we're doing this to save lives, safe and effective, save lives. Meanwhile, it's doing the opposite. I remember reading an article where they were literally telling you that, hey, your body's natural response warning you about X, Y, and Z is actually not a bad thing, right? You're supposed to feel bad when you take this thing, and that's how you know it's working. um, I don't know about you, but that doesn't solve anything. But you know what people did? It conditioned their minds to say, "Oh, when I get sick, I should be happy because that means that it's working. I'm supposed to get sick." Okay, that's one thing. But whoever said getting sick was good? Yeah, it's working all right. But why would you want it to be working in that way? Why does something that is meant to help you cause you this put you in this condition where you feel like you're damn near dying? How the hell is that supposed to help you? But once again, they slip past people's mental defenses, and then inwardly they enact these draconian measures. And this is why, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, the scriptures say that if it were possible, they would deceive the very elect, but it is not possible because of the spirit of the Lord. This is the book of Job, chapter 20, verse 11. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it not and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth. And then it goes on, so on and so forth. But the point is here that wickedness is sweet in his mouth. They love the taste of wickedness and they hide it under their tongue. Hence, they come out with the smooth words, right? And the soft words, but inwardly, there's that wickedness that is being hidden. That's like when you imagine you're like when you were younger and you're in class and you're chewing gum in class and you're not supposed to be chewing gum in class. So then the teacher sees you chewing and they come up to you or they say, go and spit out the gum. And you go to the trash can and you just act like you spit something out. And then they come and say, open your mouth. And what you do is you hide the gum under your tongue, so that way it looks like there's nothing in your mouth, but really it's the gum is still there. They just can't see it. Right. That's kind of what I imagined, right? When I read this, right, that it's sweet in their mouth, but they hide it under their tongue. And that's what these devils do. They'll look at you with that fake Edomite smile, and deep down in their minds, they're thinking, why is this nigga walking without a leash on his neck? Some wild shit like that, right? That's Esau Edom, man. That's these devils. But anyway, that was pretty much it. I've linked the article in the description box. We already know where this is going. Okay, we already know where this is going. So when you start hearing these terms that maybe a couple of years ago were described as conspiracy theory terms, or some wild end time, well, that's those are common terms today. Okay, because now you're seeing prophecy in real time. Yeah, so I'm gonna end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. Let's see what we have on here. This is a good one. GMS must endure 144K. Ba. Genesis 3 and 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord Yahweh power had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Yeah. So through that subtlety, he was able to beguile Eve because he didn't come. Notice, right? Why didn't the serpent include all the other parts? Oh, by the way, if the God said don't eat this, I mean there must surely be consequences. What if he takes away your this, or what if he kicks you out, or what? Why didn't the serpent mention any of the downstream impacts that came with the disobedience? Why if you notice what the serpent did was he highlighted, he shall not surely die. Your eyes are gonna be open. You're gonna be like him, knowing good and evil. You're gonna know this. But what is the price though? What is the cost? They ain't put that. So anything with these devils. Oh, it's safe and effective. Oh, it's to save lives. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the devil for you. He wouldn't be the devil if he didn't do his job, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna finish it off with this. This is bearer of Yahweh Shai 144, Isaiah 31 and 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. Yeah. And a lot of people are about to feel this Isaiah 31 and 1 in full effect. So with that, Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha, Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.